Cool. Well, let me
Let's
just
do it.
jump straight in. Before I do, I can give you guys a little bit of background before we get into the content. So my name's Cody, as Hannah said. This is my little family here. Although we do have a third daughter. She's about how many weeks old now? I guess 7 or 8 weeks old. So I have 3 girls and a wife called Sarah. I live on the Gold Coast. And I run a company called Lightning Sites. Previously, I owned a company called WOD Sites, which built websites for gyms. I sold that business about 12 months ago. And so I'm here today to just provide value. I actually can't help any of you. I have a non-compete. I can't build websites for gyms, but a good friend of Gene's, and I still love the gym community. And so, when the guys asked me to still do some coaching, I'm happy to support you guys and show you what you should be doing on your website. I just can't actually physically do the work. So I hope today I can give you guys heaps of value. I'm not selling anything because I can't sell you anything. I'm just here to educate and answer questions today. And so, I do have a lot of experience building websites. We've built 1,200 websites in the last 7 years. With my team, we've generated over 500,000 leads for our clients. Right now, we deal with about 5,000 support requests every month from our clients. So if you think you've got lots of emails, we deal with about 5,000 client requests every single month. And so, it's quite a lot. I have a big team in the Philippines. I actually have about 100 staff now. I've got 7 staff in Australia and about 80 something in the Philippines. We finished building our own building last year in the Philippines to house all of our staff. So we stopped renting and we have our own building. When I'm not doing that, I also like to do a lot of, youth work. Before I was running Lightning Sites, I was actually a youth pastor. And so I'm very passionate about helping young people. So we have 2 schools in the Philippines that we support as well, which is really cool. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through my 14, most important ingredients for a website. So when I'm looking at a website, these are the main 14 things that I'm looking at. And so, I'm just going to quickly take you guys through that. And because we've got only a few of us on the call today, I'm happy to kind of look at your guys' websites if you want some specific advice as well around your site. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do when you're building a website is actually map out your customer journey. One of the things that a lot of business owners, fail to do when they're looking at their website is have a plan. If you don't have a plan, for what you want your website to achieve for your business, then you're probably not going to end up with a good result from the web developer, particularly when there's a lot of web developers out there who don't know anything about gyms. And really their lack of experience from running their own business means that they're not able to sometimes read between the lines. So the more, I guess, of an understanding of what you need to have on your website, the better you can ensure that whoever you're working with is going to be able to get you the result that you want. So that's what this is about. And so when I think about a website, it's really important to understand that not everybody who lands on your website is ready to buy from you. So there's this diagram which a guy called Chet Holmes came up with in his book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. And he talks about how only 3% of people are ready to buy from you right now. And so what that means is they're ready to get their credit card details out and sign up for CrossFit training. There is some people that are ready to do that straight away, but it's a very small percentage, 3%. 97% of the other people on the site, they're going to need to be, taken on a journey for them to be able to be ready to work with you. And so what I would suggest is that you have some elements on your website that will help people ascend that pyramid and get to a place where they're ready to buy from you. So that would involve having some free content. So that might be videos that you put out on social media. You might put them on your website. Having some lead magnets. So there might be some guides or some longer videos that kind of give people value even before they become a client. And then you need some way to convert people that are interested in working with you. You need something to convert them. We call that in marketing a conversion tool. So that might be a free trial class, for example, or a free consultation, and then a purchase process, a streamlined way to actually, once someone comes in to that conversion experience, some way to take their payment and make it as seamless as possible for them to get started. So you need to be thinking about what is your sales process. If you don't have that dialed in before you build a website, then your website is not going to serve you as well as it could. Donald Miller wrote this. He said, if you confuse, you lose. When your message is confusing, your marketing will fail. If you're confused about how you sell your product, then you're not going to be able to market it effectively. And so you're going to miss out on sales. So the first thing that we do when we work with clients on a website is we map out the process. We call this wireframing. We wireframe out the customer experience so we know exactly how the site is going to look before we build it. Number two, you need to build it on a quality CMS, content management system. You guys would have hopefully seen some of these before. I know we mentioned WordPress a moment ago as we were chatting through a couple of people's websites there. So you just want to make sure that it's built on a tool that you can easily edit and manage the website. So these are some of the reasons why you want to do that. But in a nutshell, it's much cheaper to build it on a content management system. It allows you to get things on your website quicker. It allows you to self-manage, and it won't cost you a fortune every time you need people to work on the website. So personally, we use and recommend WordPress. The reason why we use WordPress is it's the largest of its kind in the world. Over 30% of the entire internet is built using WordPress. There's 500 new sites alone on WordPress.org every single day. Massive brands, Sony, MTV, Disney, BBC, and 15 of the world's top trafficked websites are built on WordPress. So even small businesses all the way through to large businesses, WordPress is a great platform. It's been around for a very long time. And so that's what we recommend. I do get asked questions about these platforms, Wix and Squarespace, Duda, and other types of like free platforms. And these are great if you've got like no money and you're just, trying to knock something out quick. The only thing I would say about them is that they are limited in terms of the design. You're kind of like very set within the structure of like what Wix and Squarespace allow you to do. And so, down the track, if you want to add some of the functions and features I'm going to talk about in this presentation, you'll end up paying, larger subscriptions with them. And you may also not be able to achieve the functions because they are very limited in their capabilities. So just be aware of that. But they are good if you've got no money, you need to knock something out quick. Okay, number three, once you kind of know your plan, you know what platform you're going to build it on, you need a hosting. You need to set up some hosting or work with a developer to set up some hosting. There's two types of hosting out there, shared hosting and cloud hosting. All hosting is a place to keep all your website files. So think of it like an online server or like a computer in the cloud that allows people to access your website. Now, there's two different types. Shared hosting is where you have a server and they'll put like maybe 1,000 websites on the server. And so it's cheaper, but it's less secure and the performance is more inconsistent because you have lots of websites using the resources of that server. So you can get shared hosting for like less than $15 a month, but the performance is not as good. Cloud hosting is what we do for our clients and what we recommend for people that are, I guess, serious about online marketing. And cloud hosting is where you have your own virtual server and it automatically scales up and down depending on the traffic landing on the website. So for example, at midnight, if there's nobody looking at your website, it'll auto scale down its resources. And so you only pay for the resources you're using when, let's say you send an email out to 1,000 people and they're all clicking on it and opening your website, then it can automatically scale up to deal with the traffic that's landing on the website. So it's much more secure because there's no other websites on the environment. There's only your website. So, it's much safer. It's much faster because you're the only one accessing the resources of the server. But of course, you pay more for that. The reason why it's important to have good quality hosting is because your load speeds there's a few reasons, but one of them is your load speeds. If your load speed is really slow, as soon as it passes 3 seconds, the bounce rate soars to 38% by the time it hits 5 seconds. So what that means is the longer your site takes to load, which you can see here in blue, that's the amount of people that will bounce off of your website. So load speed, you can see here. So once it gets to like over 3 seconds, if your website loads in 3 seconds, only 11 people will bounce off the site. If it gets up to say 7 seconds, over half the people who click on your website will leave without clicking on any additional pages. So bounce rate simply means they land on your website and they bounce without taking any action. So they don't click on any other pages. They don't click on any links. They don't scroll far down the page. They just bounce straight off. So some people will literally bounce before the site even loads, and then others will land on the site but bounce straight away if the page loads are getting too high. So good quality hosting is important because it keeps the site speed fast. This is a great tool you can use to check out your load speeds. It's called Pingdom Website Speed Test. You just Google that. You can type in your web address, select your nearest location and start the test. And you want to keep that load speed less than 3 seconds. Even if you've got like videos on your page like I have, you want to keep that less than 3 seconds. Okay, so in terms of hosting, we use and recommend Amazon. You have to be a web developer to use it. So you'll need a company to help you with that. WP Engine and SiteGround, they're reputable companies that are based in Australia, or they have offices based in Australia. SiteGround's a US company. I think WP Engine is a European company, but they have both have offices in Sydney and data centers in Sydney that they can use. So they're both good companies you could check out. All right. Number 4, design a powerful welcome panel. So your welcome panel is the first panel that you have on your site. And it's really important that that you design it really well, because you have only one shot, a very small percentage of time to capture people's attention. In fact, you have milliseconds before people kind of form an opinion on your site. So you want to kind of have like some kind of key elements on the page. You want to have some sort of graphic, some sort of byline, headline, and a call to action above the fold on that first panel. So here's an example from some of the websites that I've built. So let's build your dream business. Want better marketing, easier sales, and bigger profits? Then it's time to join the world's #1 business program. Act now and attend your first business training free. So it's really clear what Dale does. He helps build people's businesses. It's clear what the benefits are: better marketing, easier sales, bigger profits. And it's clear what he wants you to do next. He wants you to join the program, and you start by claiming your free ticket to his training. So it's really crystal clear. Here was my website before I sold it, before I sold WOD-sites. So Gym websites that create a flood of begging to join members every single month. Want more members? A great looking website's the first step. Book a free strategy call. So it's clear what we do. We build gym websites. It's clear what the benefit is for you. A flood of begging to join members every month. And it's clear what I want you to do next. Book a strategy call. For my graphic, I'm using a video. So there's some examples. There's lots of ways you can lay it out, depending on, depending on what content you have. You might want to get them to book a free trial class straight away. So there's lots of different ways. Here's some examples of, these are not gym examples because I'm not allowed to use those because of my non-compete, but here's some examples from other sites that I've built with Lightning sites. So you can see, focusing the attention on the initial call to action and the initial positioning statement with a good graphic. Here's another example. This website had just too many options. They're a touring company, but you can't even tell, for example, that they're in Alice Springs or Uluru because there's no, like that picture, there's one picture here, but it's not really clear. And they've got like too many buttons. It's like 16 choices for me to click on. And so it's not going to convert very well. So here's what we did to change it. So you got a big clear picture. And then we took their 4 favorite tours, the ones that they make the most money off and the ones that people choose the most. And we kind of added those across the top instead of having, 16 buttons. Now there's just 4 choices. Here's another example. Hopefully you guys can start to see the same things we're changing every time. These guys had really bad branding. It looks really cheesy, and they kind of they have a lead magnet, which is great, but you don't even know who they are yet. So it feels a little bit salesy to kind of have like a free property report, when you don't even know who they are yet. So yeah, you can sort of see some examples here. Cool, pretty clear. Okay, number 5, ensure your main action is early and obvious. This stat's crazy, but it's true. 70% of business websites lack a call to action on their homepage. It's crazy how many websites I review for people that don't even tell clients what to do next, and they wonder why they don't get any inquiries through their website. You're not telling people what they should do next, and you're not making it clear and early and obvious. So you want to make sure. Here's an example, right, of somebody who has a really good business. Kane runs a tennis coaching business in Melbourne. I think they have nowadays around 2,000 students in their tennis coaching business. So that's a good model to consider for gyms, because it's very similar to what you guys do, but it's for tennis instead of fitness. But his website did have a clear call to action. He was offering like a free trial class, but you can't tell what that is straight away. It just says join us today. There's no like description of it. And also it's got these other buttons that like distract you from the main button here. And so the website just looked old. So when we redid his website, we actually just put a form straight above the fold here, book a free intro session. And then we also added a button at the top here, free trial list. And if you click on that, it just opens a form and you can fill it out. And he got 350 trial classes booked in 6 weeks, which was like about 10 times the trial classes he booked in the previous period. Normally for tennis, they get all their bookings after the Australian Open. But he was able to pull in 350 trial classes booked in 6 weeks before the Australian Open. Yeah, I'm not saying that we're responsible for all of that, because Kane does do some marketing in social media and stuff like that. But changing this had a huge impact on the number of leads he was getting through his website. I can see some questions coming through. Okay, cool. All right, no worries. All good. Okay, sweet. Number 6, create an enticing lead magnet. For most of you, a lead magnet could just be a free trial class. So that's really what I'm doing as a lead magnet here for Vita. It doesn't have to be that though. If you you can even use a paid trial class. If you're doing a paid trial class though, I would recommend you have something for free for people to join. So it might be like a 10-week challenge, like where you have like a free Facebook group where people join and you do like a healthy eating challenge or something like that. Or it might be a free Facebook group, where you give people access to join a group and they get like access to content from your coaches, stuff like that. But you want to have something that they can access for free in order to get them into your community where you can start to have a conversation with them. So that can be all kinds of things like ebooks. It can be like I said, like a challenge, like a weight loss challenge or something like that. It could be a free Facebook community. It could be like an ebook. It could be video training. So there's loads of different types of lead magnets, but you want something on your website that gives people value before they have to pay to work with you. So it could be, like I said, it could be as simple as just having a free trial class, but you could also like automate some of this other stuff so that you can get leads without actually having to run classes. So, some of that would be worth considering. Okay, once we have got a lead magnet set up on our website, say, for example, booking a free intro session, we need to have a CRM system to help us automatically follow up our leads. Imagine if Kane, if he got 360 leads in 6 weeks, imagine if he had to manually follow up all those leads. It would be impossible. You would lose lots of the leads and you wouldn't follow them up effectively. So you need to have like automation set up to allow you to make sure you don't miss any of those leads. Chris Harrington, who's a sales expert, said don't give up. 50% of all sales happen after the 5th contact, but most reps give up after just 2. So if you're not following up your leads, then you're going to miss out on a lot of the leads. And so you want to make sure that you're following them up. There's loads of tools out there that you can use to do that. We personally use Active Campaign. That's the tool that we recommend. But there's lots of tools out there that you can check out. I know that Fitbox has some software as well that they use, and so you could chat with them.
For those playing along at home, Fitbox's Active Campaign product has actually recently launched.
Okay, wicked.
So we now have an integration.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, number 8, engage a professional to design your homepage. So 75% of consumers admit to making judgments on companies' credibility based on their website design, and 46% of consumers base their decisions on the credibility of a website by their visual appeal. In other words, the way your website looks is really important. It represents your brand, and people will judge your brand based on the appearance of your website. So if you've got a shoddy looking website that looks like, you know, you haven't put any time or effort into it, then people's perception of your brand and your training and what's going to happen inside the gym it should be reflected on your website. If your website looks great, then it's a reflection of the level of service that you offer to people in the gym. And unfortunately, for a lot of gym owners, that, you know, what they do on the floor of their gym is not reflected on their website. And so people, you know, I guess what people say to me a lot of the time, a lot of gym owners will say, if I can just get them through the door, I can show them how good my service is. And I guess my answer to that would be, well, you need to make sure that you're showing the quality of service that you have on the gym floor. It needs to be shown on your website. If it's not, then there's a disconnect between what people are seeing. And I know if you kind of take a step back and you think about like anything, if you're booking a restaurant or if you're buying a product online, when you go to the website for the first time, you make a lot of judgments about that brand based on the quality of the website. Like if you go to the website and it looks terrifying to buy anything, like if it doesn't look safe, you're not going to put your credit card details in and buy that camera that you're looking at or whatever. If they don't have a contact page where there's a proper address and a proper phone number, you're like, I don't know if this company is even in Australia. And so you won't make a purchase. Well, it's the same if they go to a gym website and there's no, contact phone number, because the gym owner is saying, oh, I don't want phone calls. Well, all those little decisions that you make that lowers the trust on your website will stop people from taking action on your website. So it's really important. So I recommend working with a professional to design design your homepage, because there really is a skill to making it look good and also make sure it's motivating. So when I'm thinking about designing a motivating homepage, I just wanted to kind of show you this diagram. I just quickly drew it out. So I apologize. It's not great quality, but when I'm thinking about selling a product on a website, there's really 5 things that I'm trying to tell in the story. So the first thing that I want to connect with is I need the customer to know I understand their problem. So let's say if I'm trying to tackle people that are conscious of their body image, maybe they're wanting to lose weight or build strength or just feel better about themselves, about the way that their body, their body looks or the way their body feels. I need to make sure that I connect with that problem. So when they first land on the website, they need to know that I understand them. I understand the challenge that they're facing. Then I need to show them that my product or service is the answer to that problem. So they need to know that we understand them and that we have a product that helps them solve that problem. Then we need to give them some promises around what we can do for them. So promises are like, what are the key benefits that the client is going to get when they work with you? So what's your promise? What makes you different than other gyms? And then we need to prove it. It's one thing to say that we're good at what we do and yeah, we can do this for you and we can do that for you and we've got the best coaches and blah, blah, blah. But unless we prove it, then there's going to be some skepticism. So we want to have some elements on our website that proves that we get these results for other clients. And then we need to show them that we've got a clear process. Firstly, a clear process for them to get started, that it's really easy. Simply click here, fill out the form. We'll call you within 5 hours or within 24 hours to set up your trial class, or even better, click here and book it straight into our calendar. So they need to have a clear process to get started, but that you also need to show them that you've got a clear process to get these results for clients. It's not something that you've it's like ad hoc. Your coaching methodology and stuff is not just ad hoc. You have a clear process to ensure that your clients get the same results that they've read about on your website. So that comes back to how you structure the site, making sure that you have all of those elements. And then when the person's building the website, there's just standards that need to be followed to ensure that your website is built to a quality standard. And so I've listed out some of the things there that you want to make sure are followed in the build, because if you don't, then it will it stops people from being able to navigate the website. So you want to do these things, and you want to avoid these things. And you guys will get a copy of this slide deck so you can check out those in more detail. So when we're building the website, it needs to look great. It needs to match your branding. And so whatever your website looks like, it needs to match in with the branding. You need to have a great logo. If you don't have a good logo, then it's hard for a web developer to design something that looks good, because the logo is going to be on every single page. So if you've got like a really trashy logo, like if you've got a logo that doesn't represent your brand, if you're telling me that you want to attract like everyday customers, and then your gym logo is like, CrossFit skulls, and you've got like skulls and stuff in your logo, then you're not going to attract people that, you're not going to attract the market you're looking for. So that's really important when it comes to building a good website. Then number 9, you want someone to help you write the copy. Writing this message in a motivating way is a real skill. And I would recommend paying a copywriter would be worth every dollar. Usually it only costs like $500 to get a writer to help you write the copy for your site. And they're going to be able to help you write a message in a way that's motivating. And even if you get 1 or 2 members sign up just off the back of that copy, it's going to pay for itself. So it's really worth it. They'll also help you write with SEO in mind. So they'll be able to kind of like know what keywords need to go into the copy to help your website rank more effectively. And so again, it's worth the money to spend working with a copywriter. Okay. Also the headlines on your website. So for example, if we just take an example of a dance school, poor headlines are a real waste. David Ogilvy once said this: on average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. Therefore, it follows if you don't sell your product in your headline, you've wasted 80% of your money. So most people's websites have really lazy headlines. So they just will have like our services or our programs and things like that as headlines. Whereas you want to optimize the headlines to have benefits in them. So instead of having something like kids dance lessons, you'd have kids dance lessons that will enhance their skills and encourage confidence. So we're attaching benefits in our headlines. So if somebody is just reading the headlines on the website, they're still going to get a picture of what we do, even if they don't read all of the body copy. Another one would be performance. Dance teams could be like expert tuition for aspiring dance champions. So using more powerful words and benefits in the headlines. Testimonials could be, we've taught over 10,000 children to dance, or we've coached over 500 500 clients, or we've helped our if you're a weight loss type gym, we've helped our clients lose over 5,000 kilograms. Something like that would be more engaging than just testimonials or what our clients say, or something lazy like that. So focusing on the benefits to the customer. You might even want to consider adding a section on your site that clearly shows your key benefits on the homepage of your website. And then your copy needs to be jargon free. So don't have huge slabs of text. It needs to be short and punchy. Okay, number 10, only a few left. Test your website across multiple devices. So the site needs to look good on mobiles and on desktops. And so regardless of what device they're on, it needs to look great. There's a couple of cool tools you can check out. Browser Stack is a tool that is free, and you can check your site across different browsers. And you need to also check what Google says. Google has a mobile friendly test. You punch your website address in and it'll tell you if your site's mobile friendly. That's important because if Google doesn't consider your site mobile friendly, then it's not as likely to show your website to people searching on a mobile. So it will really affect your SEO results if your site's not considered mobile friendly. So that's really important. Okay, number 11, set up Google and Facebook remarketing ads. Remarketing ads are like the best way to spend money on advertising if you've already got traffic coming to your site. So here's how it works. This is a friend of mine's website, Clint. If I go on his website and then I go on other websites, his ads will follow me around on CNN, on Facebook, on Instagram. His ads will follow me around. That's called remarketing. The way that it works is when someone lands on your website, a piece of code is added in their browser. And when they leave and go on other websites, we can serve ads to them and encourage them to come back. So the way it might work on your website would be if someone lands on your website, but they don't book a free trial, then I want them to see this testimonial video on Facebook that drives them back to booking a free trial. Or you can even have more complicated strategies. Like I want them to see this video on day 1, this video on day 2, this video on day 3. and you can set your ads up to follow people around and get them to come back to your website. I can guarantee you 95% or not even more, 99% of gyms are not doing this. And this is by far the best way to spend your paid ads if you've already got traffic coming to your website. So you want to be driving traffic to your website using Instagram, using Facebook. You may even have some ads or Google AdWords that are driving them to your website. But it's really cheap to pay for ads for people who have already landed on your website, because you're not spending money on people who don't know who you are. You're spending money on people who have already shown that they're interested in your product by coming to your website. So it's much more cost effective. To give you an idea, if I send an ad out to try to get someone to book in a strategy call to build a website with me, it'll cost me $30 or $40 to get someone to book in a strategy call if they don't know who I am. But if they've come to a presentation like this with me and come to my website, it costs me sometimes less than $5 to get them to book in a call. So it's like 8 times cheaper than paying for somebody who doesn't know who I am to come and book in a call with me. Does that make sense? So if you're not doing something like that, I would recommend, if you've got traffic coming to your website already, that's where I'd be spending my advertising dollars. Even if it's just $10 a day on ads, it would generate a huge amount of results. That's what we do for Kane, and that's why he was able to get such a high number of leads through. He was driving traffic through social media, and then we had ads following up those leads, and that's why he was able to get 360 trial classes booked in 6 weeks. Okay, number 12, set up and use Hotjar. So this is a more advanced strategy. If you haven't done the stuff I've talked about earlier, then leave this one for later on. But Hotjar is a tool that allows you to track users using your website. And this is really how we got really good at building websites. We basically we built websites for clients, and then we used tools like Hotjar to record people's screens while they were using our client's website. So this tool is a free tool. You install it on your website, and it records people using your website. It's really amazing. So this is just a screenshot of an example where people will land on your site, and then they will scroll. You can watch them scrolling around and looking at the different things on your website, and you can see where they don't take action. And this is a great way to figure out what's going wrong on your website. Like if people are clicking on the wrong buttons, or if they're like not taking the action that you want, or if they're scrolling straight past panels on your website and not looking at them, it will show you where they're looking. It also has heat mapping that shows which panels on your website that they look at and which ones they scroll past. And of course, that allows you to move the panels that are more that are being used by being looked at by people more often. You can make them more visible on the homepage of your website. And if you do this, you can increase the conversion rate of your website significantly. So Hotjar is a great tool that you can use if you're kind of going more advanced. Okay, number 13, set up website security and back up your site every day. So it's really important that you have good security on your website. A lot of people, particularly if you've built your own website, they don't think about security. You build it, but you don't think about taking backups. You don't think about updating WordPress and your plugins and all of the stuff that you need to do to make sure your site's secure. The problem is once you don't think you need it until you have a problem. And what tends to happen is that people who are not taking backups of their website, eventually they'll get caught out. Their site will get hacked or something like that, and they'll have to pay a fortune to get it fixed. Or worse, if they don't have any backups at all, sometimes people can lose their entire website. And I've had people call me over the years that have had that happen to them, and it's an awful conversation to have, especially if they've spent a lot of money on their website and then they just lose it. It's not a situation you want to be in. So here's some of the things that you want to kind of think about when it comes to security. I don't expect you to know what all these things are, but if you're working with a web developer, you could give them this list. Just make sure that they've got those things covered. As a very minimum, I would recommend installing WordFence. It's a security plugin on WordPress, and it's really helpful at helping secure your site. Okay, last but not least is add social proof. As I said earlier in the presentation, it's one thing to say how good you are, but you need to prove it. So how can you prove that your gym is credible? Well, there's a few different ways. One way would be a credibility through association. So even just having a CrossFit affiliate is an association, as an example. But what are some other ways you can, associate yourselves with other brands? Maybe you're a Gain Faster partner, or maybe you've written articles in Men's Health magazine or something like that. So that's one way that you can show that you're credible. Maybe you've been featured in a magazine, or maybe you've been featured on the television, or whatever it is. Then you can use those to show your credibility. Another way would be written testimonials. Getting your clients to write testimonials and putting those on your website, or even better, have them put those reviews on your Facebook or Google profile, and then embed those on your website so people know that they're real testimonials. Take it to another level and create member stories. This is really something that we used to promote a lot when I was running WOD sites, is having member stories, videos that tell the story of members who've come into your gym and achieve the results that they wanted for their body or for their strength. It's a great way. It's like testimonials on steroids. They're also great for doing remarketing ads, like I talked about before. If someone lands on your website but they don't take action, it only costs a few cents to send them a video on Facebook to get them to view a video. It's a great way to use those stories for remarketing as well. Case studies or past success. So that could be stuff like, if it's suitable for your gym, like body transformation stories. Obviously that's not for every gym, but some gyms that are very heavily focused on weight loss, then they can be a great way to build credibility as well. Social review badges. If you've got lots of Facebook or Google reviews or Yelp reviews or whatever, showcasing a badge on your website can be another way that you can build credibility. So that's pretty much it for me. They're my 14 sort of most important ingredients that I would think about on your website. I know I've kind of like gone through those quite quickly, but you guys will get a copy of my slide deck, so you can take some time to look over the slides. But now I'm happy to kind of answer any questions, and I'm also happy to have a look at people's websites. If you want me to kind of give you some advice specific to your situation, I'm more than happy to do that as well. So hopefully that was helpful.
A lot of information all at once, guys. Take a second to absorb that if you need. Matt, in your instance, I know we're not going to have a website of yours to review, but perhaps if you want to look up a website, if you've done any research of something that either appeals to you or something you like, you might be able to show that as a bit of inspo. Kiri, were you maybe willing to show us?
Let me also share. I'll just share with you the Vita Tennis one that I showed before. There's lots of gym websites that I've built, but they're not managed by me anymore. So I'm trying to avoid just kind of showing you guys those. But here's let me just show you a couple of examples. Whoops, I sent that. If you go to Vita Tennis, this website performs really well in terms of getting trial bookings. So that one would be one you can check out. It has the form like above the fold here. And then also if you click on here, these guys get, in summer when they're promoting for tennis lessons, these guys get around about 60 free trial bookings every single week. They're a good example, I guess, of how I would recommend. Obviously there's other pages, like they've got lots of different programs, camps and stuff like that. So like a gym website doesn't need to be like this intense, but just the clear booking form for the intro session, having it in the navigation, and then having a simple homepage. You can see social review badges. They've got written testimonials. They've got clear journey showing like how they take people from being a very beginner all the way through. These guys have, people who've gone to the pro circuit, so they can take people from 3 years old all the way through to being on, pro tennis players. So this is a good one as an example. Obviously it'd be simplified. The other thing you could do would be check out on our portfolio page. We do have some dance websites that, again, it's not the same as a gym, but most of them have the same sort of like process of a trial class booking. So you could take a look at like how we're structuring the site, for a dance studio. It'd be exactly the same for gyms. Like in terms of the requirements for the panels on the website, Obviously, it would look different, have different photos, but the same structure, you know, would be this, you know, would be pretty much the same for a dance school as it would be for a gym. So you can kind of check some of those out as well. Did you want me to have a look at yours, Kiriana? Have a look at your website and give you some sort of feedback on that, or what would be the best way I can help you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be selfish, but yeah, if
you are here to be selfish. Let's go.
Amazing. I did just use the Kingdom.
Yep. What did you get?
I just used Kingdom actually, and not good news. We were 15 seconds loading.
It took a.
I was like, "Oi, sort out."
It took a long. It did take a long time when I.
So it is 15 seconds, and I did it from Australia, Sydney.
Yeah. So that needs to be fixed. There'll be some problems in the way the site's being coded. If it's getting 15 seconds, there must be, like, these images, for example, may not have been resized properly. That could be part of it. There might be some just coding stuff that needs to be pulled out of the WordPress platform to, like, speed it up. But yeah, you'll need to get that like down under 3 seconds. It looks like you're getting mixed results, because you know, this one's just like loaded quickly. But then the one before, you know, you said it took 15 seconds to load. So that sounds like there's some server problems, like that the server, like, performance is inconsistent. But yeah, have a chat with your guys, because that's going to cause all kinds of problems. If you've got, like, you know, 15-second loads, sometimes people will not even, like, wait for it to load. They'll just leave. So you want to make sure you get that fixed up. You happy for me to run through some ideas here?
Of course, absolutely.
I would recommend.
I am not going to take any.
Yeah, sure, no worries. I would recommend changing the color of the button here. So you've got, like, a blue button here, but all the other colors are blue here, and so this makes this button not stand out. So I would suggest you come up with a secondary color for your branding. So I know you've got blue, white, and black here, it looks like, in terms of your branding. Maybe picking like a yellow, like a brighter color, like a complementary color to the blue, will make it stand out a lot better. You can see here, you know, how we're using, like, this orange. You know, blue's their main color, but we're using this orange so that all of the main buttons on the site stand out. That will really help. Also, I'd make that button a little bit bigger, and I would put the text of what they're going to get. So this here, book a free CrossFit trial. You could probably get rid of that text, and you could add it on the button. You know, book a free CrossFit trial could be the button. Then what I would suggest is that you create, like, a secondary call to action. So it might be like a byline. So it might say, like, the results room, but then we want to have, like, a description that helps them understand who you are, what your key benefit is, and what you want them to do next. So for example, like the one I showed you before, you know, this is the key benefit, you know, better marketing, easier sales, bigger profits. This is what he does, and this is what he wants you to do next. Here's another example that I showed earlier, link wealth. You know, we're the missing link to taking control of your finances. We help you answer life's big questions and plan the important stuff without pinstripe suits, stuffy sales pitch, and confusing jargon. Watch our free training on how to get started as a first-time investor. You know, grab the training. So it's really clear. So we need, like, that, some sort of byline above the button, and then make that button bigger and a different color, like yellow or orange, so it stands out against the blue. That would immediately lift your results. And then what I would do is also take that yellow button, and I would add it up here in your main navigation. so that whenever you're scrolling down the page, doesn't matter where you are, the button will always be shown at the top of the screen so that you can hit it at any point. So that I would fix that up. And then they're kind of like the main things that I would fix to begin with. Obviously the load speeds, you want to kind of fix that up. These is a lot of text for like one block. So I would break this into separate blocks. So I'd have this as one block and this is another block. It's just quite a lot of text in one section. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I would recommend. And I'd probably just maybe break them into sections like this. Like you could alternate them down the page, like text on one side, image on the other, text on the other side, image on the other. So I'd probably make that section into like three of these, if that makes sense. So like if I just show you an example, who have I just done this for? What were they called? So like here's a wireframes I'm building for another site. You could kind of just do it like that, like those 3 text sections. You could have like a heading here that's like, you know, I guess what makes us, it's almost like a what makes us different type of headline. And then this information you've got here, you know, what makes us different. Community focus is cool, but it doesn't talk about the benefit to them. So you might have like community focused might be the small headline. But what does being community focused mean when you're in a gym? So it might be, you know, so it might say something like join a gym where the coaches know your name, you know, or something like that. So I'd want to attach benefits and have like a more kind of like expressive headline. So these texts could be broken into like 3 key benefits. Like the fact that you offer CrossFit programming, that's a benefit. How do I kind of like highlight that as a benefit in short, punchy text? Does that make sense? Just break this text up into smaller chunks and attach benefits to each one. That'll just make the site punchier and people will engage with it more easily. They're kind of, I guess they're the kind of main ones. I don't want to give you too much stuff to work on, but those initial ones you'd have a big impact if you made those adjustments.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Jace, did you want me to have a look at yours or?
We're still running the website that you designed for us back with WOD sites.
Okay.
We did have a few tech issues.
Flawless, right?
No, in the handover, like technically it was working okay, and then when it handed over, we had started getting problems with our leads, not sort of notifying us and things like that.
Okay. Is it
so
CrossFit?
I've just initiated with fitbox sites to have my.
Oh, yours is getting rebuilt.
Yeah, I'm having it rebuilt, and I'm also starting work with a marketing guy on Friday. So we're probably going to get really clear on the messaging that we want on our website as well.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think if anything on our website is probably a little bit too broad. It doesn't really dive down into the sort of the results and the messaging that we want to send to our sort of ideal client.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to be working hard to fix that. So once I do that on Friday, I'll be going through the rest of the website build pro forma and putting all of that stuff into there. And then I'm obviously thinking that because I've dabbled with CRMs in the past and I've just sort of not really taken the time to get to use them effectively. So I'm thinking that working with this guy, there's going to be a huge element of setting up a CRM and some funnels and some lead nurturing stuff. So the next step after I build the website out will probably be to do the CRM stuff as well. So
Yeah, cool. That sounds good, man. Well, I know the guys have, I gave Gene sort of a lot of, my expertise at the start, and I know he's run with that with his team. Even the fitbox demo site was originally a demo site that I'd put together for the guys. So, so this has like a lot of the recommendations that I had at the time when I was building them. So this is like our previous. So yeah, I'm sure the guys will be able to, if you kind of run with their template, you could probably simplify it. This has got like a lot of the pages, if it's a bigger gym, but you could probably simplify this down to like five, kind of core pages. If you have a very simple offering, you don't have to have pages for every program. You know what I mean? Your home page can give them all the information about your program. It just depends on how if you run a very simple model, you might only need 5 pages kind of to run the site, rather than having, all the extra pages. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool, man. That sounds great. Active Campaign is, I know it's like what Hannah said before, is what the guys are using. That's what I've always used. I find it's it's an affordable platform, and it's powerful enough to do everything that you need it to do.
Yeah, cool. I'll just have to dedicate some time to getting to know that software a bit better and using it effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Cool, man. Sorry, what I forgot. Is it Matt, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, man.
What about you're obviously just at the start of potentially building yours out?
Yeah. So looking at the fitbox demo site, and pretty much scaling off that, because that is, I think, like you were saying before, how punchy those things are. I think the content really matters then, and being really specific in what you're trying to push. So I've actually spent a fair bit of time the last couple of weeks kind of finessing that side of things. So when you go to put it in that information, it's one message coming across. So I think, just your examples of how to kind of position it are interesting. I like that idea of what was it, the hot jar. I think that's cool. To kind of get an idea of where people are actually tracking.
You can see you have to put your big boy pants on when you put that on your website, because you start to see all the places where where your site's like failing. And there's no sort of like gut feeling. It's just like, this is the reality. You're literally watching people use the website, so you can see very clearly where your site's falling over. And it's surprising, how something very small can make a big difference. Like, for example, like I've done a lot of optimization on this website, and like a simple example of like, he runs like a free event, and this form here is on like a gray background. We originally had like an image behind the form, and just changing it from an image behind the form to gray, like increased the conversion rate of the page by like it was like nearly 10%. It was like 7 or 8%. We changed it to blue, and it went up by like 7 or 8%. And then we changed it to gray, and it went up by another couple of percent. And we changed the button colors. So like literally by using Hotjar and just tweaking some small things like colors on buttons, the main area where the form is, tweaking that, we increased like the page conversion by like 15%. So once you start spending money on ads, that 15% like makes a massive difference, because it's the difference between getting a lead for, $30 as opposed to getting it for $15. So, it can change your marketing dynamic significantly. So yeah, once you get a site up, those kinds of tools are, I guess, more advanced. So make sure you get like the other things, like get the testimonials on the website, all the other things I talked about, and then, get those things done first. And then once you've done that, you can start to think about button colors and, testing this photo against another photo and stuff like that. But I wouldn't think about that until you've done all of the basic stuff first.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. I think very interesting that how you put your reverse pyramid there, kind of falls in line with some of the other chats that we've had across the last few weeks of, foundational stuff first, and then all the bells and whistles at the lower end of the scale, not at the first. So
yeah, if you kind of like, I mean, that stuff's sexy, you know, the idea of split testing stuff and all that's kind of like sexy, but it can just hold you back. You know, progress is better than perfection. You want to get the site up, you know, progress, just like in fitness, like you guys would know all the time with, you know, if you want to do a muscle up, it starts with, you know, being able to do ring rows. You know, if you can't do a ring row yet, well, don't try to do a muscle up. So it's that whole kind of thing, you know, you want to get the progression right first, so you don't get stuck, you know. So it's that, but it sounds like you're on top of that. You know, the template that Fitbox has, you know, most of the stuff I talked about today covered, and then you can kind of optimize it from there.
Awesome. All
Good
right.
stuff, guys.
Any final questions, guys? Any thoughts? I got one I want to throw by Cody, but I'm going to stop recording first.
Okay, no worries.
Awesome. Well, if not, I might. Sorry, Jace, did you want to jump in?
No, it's all good.
Awesome. With that in mind, I might wrap us up because there is possibly some people who are going to be watching this recording at a later date. So this is our final session for the Academy of this intake, guys. So a big thank you to you for taking part. It's great to see those who have stuck with us the whole way through. A special shout out to Kerry and Matt and Jason as well. Guys, I hope you got a lot of value from this. I know that I constantly learn every time we do these presentations, and I've been madly writing notes off to my side in case you haven't noticed throughout the whole time that Cody's been speaking. So I always find this really interesting. If you want to rejoin any of the sessions with our final intake, it kicks off next week, but that will just be the introductory session. So if you can think of any questions you may have for coaches we've already come through, that you may want to come back and join us on, please feel free to do so. Just let me know and I'll make sure your access is still set up for that. And that way you can jump into those Zoom calls in future. But with that out of the way, thank you again, guys. Please go forth, be free, set all this brand new acquired knowledge off into your businesses and go and kick some butt, go and get some leads.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. Did you have a question, Han, that you wanted to chat with me before I take off?
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
1 sec.